You are now listening to the Be Your Own #LoveGoals podcast with Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
We just want you to remember that every person, regardless of identity, wants these three things: belonging, authenticity, and love.
And after a decade of partnership, we've learned to co-create these things and so much more.
So from wherever you're listening, we're going to go on a journey of becoming our own #LoveGoals. Now let's get into this episode. Hey, it's Moe Ari
and Tiffany.
And this is the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast. We are so thankful for you all joining us here today. And we have an amazing guest for you all today. Her name is Mia Cooley, and Tiffany's going to tell you a little bit about her, and then you'll hear from Mia herself.
Mia Cooley is the founder of xHood, a pioneering platform empowering Black queer parents to create profound connections and build supportive communities. As a dedicated community builder, parenting coach, and published writer, Mia specializes in supporting Black and/or queer families through the unique challenges and joys of parenthood. With a commitment to inclusivity and accessibility, Mia's work reflects her passion for improving the family building and nurturing experiences of Black trans and queer folks. Mia is also a devoted fiance and mother of two, embodying her belief in the transformative power of love and self-acceptance. Her journey is an inspiring testament to the importance of self-love as the foundation for all relationships.
Awesome. All right. And without any further interruption, we have Mia here.
Yeah.
We are so excited to have
Tiffany.
you.
Hi, don't y'all look beautiful this morning?
Oh, thank you. You do too. I absolutely love your setup. So anybody watching this on YouTube, check out Mia's setup. This is how you do her background.
Like, oh my God, it's everything.
Thank you. There are typically more books up there, but Nova has been hanging out in my office, and so the books have been hitting the floor. They're all rearranged, but y'all get the picture. I love to read. Yeah. I love Black people. I love Black women.
Yeah,
y'all get it.
Yeah, totally. I feel like we have a special connection because we all have a child named Nova.
Oh so yes. I mean, parents of Novas are we're very special people with very special children.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, yeah. I'll let you start this episode out, Tiffany, and take it away.
Yeah. So Mia, again, we are so happy to have you here, and we want to start out we just want to go straight to it. Who are you? Who are you? What do you do? And what's your story? What's the origins of your story?
I have so many stories, right?
Yeah.
I like to say the moral of my story is that you can begin again and again and again, and as many times as you would like to. You can restart and start over, and don't be afraid. Age doesn't matter. Whatever, things you're responsible for, accountable for, they'll be okay. Restart. As many times as feels like you need to. And I feel like that's something that I have just been learning along the way. I used to be really afraid of okay, I invested so much time in this person or this business venture or this thing that I'm building, and I don't want to lose this time. And there's no such thing as lost time. And so that's also where Nova gets her name from, because she was another new beginning for me. And I knew that the restart that she would give me would just be so powerful, so magical, and that she was just always going to be gold and a superstar in our house. So she likes to be called Supernova. I like to be called Big Mama Mia.
I love it.
And so together we're a team of superheroes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. First of all, that is so beautiful and profound. I will just say, just starting with the moral of your story, that you can begin again and again and again. I felt that in my soul.
But you asked me who I am, what I do. This chapter, I am the founder of xHood. It's like
Yeah.
parenthood, but a little bit more choose your own adventure because I mean, I feel like queer people, we get to do that. Some of us are
Yes.
walking through motherhood, some of us are walking through fatherhood, some of us are walking through Baba and mommy and sissy and whatever they like
Mhm.
to be called and whatever feels
Mhm.
best
Yeah.
in your parenting role. And so whatever
Mhm.
you feel your xHood is for you. We
Mhm.
provide fertility and family building support to the Black LGBTQ plus community.
Mhm.
Um, and we do it all across the United States, the UK, Canada. We have a little
Nice.
over 4,000 members. So the growth is real, real strong. We
Yes.
Yes.
have lots of programming, events, just lots of powerful things coming out of the xHood community. So shout out to my xHood members. Shout out to
Yes.
Moe and Tiffany being xHood members.
Yes.
Yes.
The community is beautiful.
Mhm.
We got to go to the Parent Pride Summit last year,
Mhm.
and it kind of rocked our world in all the best
It's
ways.
been life-changing.
I was gonna say those are my favorite stories. Like I feel like, I mean, all of the summits have been powerful and unique in their own ways, but
Mhm.
I feel like coming out of last summit, everyone's like, no, like I want to do something, I want to do more, I want to
Yes.
go after this idea. And I'm like, yes, because I'm
Yes.
taking a year off, so let me come support you on your
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's just such a beautiful space that you curated. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like I left the summit with family, like
We
people
did.
to add to the holiday card list, like people that we connect to, that we just genuinely cheer each other on, and my heart is full. Like every time I talk about it, I feel like I get emotional, or I'm telling other people like, you should go, you should go. It's a break this year, but you should go. But you should also check out all of the other offerings for xHood
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all wanna
Definitely
know a
life
secret?
changing. Yes,
I
a
hate
Yes.
event
secret.
planning. I hate
Um,
event planning. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Um, but something about Summit, right? Like something
Yeah.
about the space that it becomes be like, I love like the programming aspect. I love like figuring out like what's at the top of the mind for our community
Mhm.
members. I love figuring out like what's on our hearts and what needs to be said and who needs to say it and who needs to just be given the space to say something. It's all the stuff
yeah.
that's on the side of that I don't like, but that part I love, and I feel like
Yeah.
even though like people fell in love with you, right? They're like,
Oh,
I want to talk to him. Like,
Yes.
wow.
why did I not know that he existed? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, go talk to him because I'm
Yes.
trying to tell you, I see it. And I see the power behind you. I see the power behind Tiffany, and I wanted people to
Wow.
get the opportunity to fall in love with you all just like I did.
Oh,
Wow. You
that's
are
so
so
sweet.
sweet. We cry enough on this
Oh my
podcast.
gosh.
Y'all
This
love me. I cry all the time. Okay.
I love it.
I do know that
Yeah.
and I love that for you. I love that about the connection that you bring to
Mhm.
every single space and the way that people lit up being in that room with
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
I mean, you have talk about over 4,000 members and counting. That's bigger than a lot of churches. So
Mhm.
you have like
Mhm.
a congregation, so to speak, that is
Mhm.
just like
Yeah.
blossoming and you mean so much to
Yeah.
people. So we're just excited to be diving into your story. So we
Mhm.
heard from you. You began again and again and again. Now take us back. So you started with the moral, and now we want to go
Mhm.
back to the beginning. What was one of those first starts that
Mm.
kind of set you on this course for many new beginnings that led you to being the founder of xHood?
That's good.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Um,
Yeah.
it's a very powerful Black queer community. Like, I feel like some people, they grow up and they're like, they ask a question like, when did you have your first Black teacher? And for me, it's like, I had all Black teachers. It's like,
Yeah.
I had to think about when the first time I had a non-Black teacher. Like,
Yeah.
that is where I come from.
Mhm.
But for me, it was watching and growing up. I grew up with my grandmother and my mother. All of our family lived in the same house, or at least like
Mhm.
around the corner, walking distance of one another.
Mhm.
And so I got to have build a really special relationship with my great aunt, my mother's aunt, and she is a Black queer woman that has founded
Mm.
so many enterprises in New Orleans, and she has just
Wow.
built up
Wow.
such a strong community around
Mm.
her. She is also a recovering addict. And so I've watched her, like, as she has pulled herself through this journey, also begin to build community to pull others through their journeys as well. And like, there's no one that you can go to New Orleans and say her name and that they won't know who you're talking about.
Wow.
So getting to watch her was my first beginning.
Yeah.
I have always been very fortunate in that I have a very welcoming family. I have a very loving family and accepting family, and I have always had examples of what like Black queer success could look like for me. Like, she owns a bunch of homes, she owns a bunch of cars. Like, she was just like it for me, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, I want to be that. Like, she had beautiful women and like kids, and it was just like, it was everything. And so like, we still have like a very special relationship to this day. She's mad at me right now because I came home from Mardi Gras and I didn't get the chance to see her. We were just running in two different directions, and so she's very upset with me. But I love you, Auntie Darlene. I'll be back home soon, and I'm sorry.
I love that.
I love it. That's so beautiful, Mia. And I think it's so beautiful that you had the opportunity to have this example or so many examples in your life as a younger child growing up and seeing like, "Ooh, I can be that." Like,
Yes.
"Ooh, I can be successful and be queer and Black and all of these other things." And I can't help but draw the parallels for what you represent. Like, as for me, for people younger than me, for even maybe people that are older than me, as like this successful Black queer woman that I know is still on a journey and still pushing, and I'm sure you have so many more dreams beyond this point, but I just want to take a pause and recognize that like you are that.
Yes. Yes.
I'm so bad at pauses.
Yeah, I had to say that. Like, I admire you. And so to hear your story, I think it's so beautiful that you have used your experience, your life, your examples in your life to say, I want to be that and more for people, not just your own children, not just the people in your family, but for like this beautiful community that you're building. So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I received that. Thank you for forcing me to take a moment, because I don't. I like do
Yeah.
something, I am very quickly on to the next thing. So I appreciate that, and I love you for it. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
So so that sounds like you had a beautiful foundation for greatness and a foundation to one that really seems to have inspired authenticity inside of you as well. Like, so it sounds like you got encouraged to be who you are. I know that so many people, myself included, we have gone on a journey of finding who we are. Does that resonate for you, that you felt like you grew up knowing who you are?
I grew up knowing who I wanted to be. I'm not sure that I always knew like how that would present, how it would show up, how I would get there, but I knew who I wanted to be. I knew that I wanted to make a profound impact. Like, I also wanted to be the person that when you hear her name, you know what she's working on, you know what she's doing, you know how to support her. That's what I wanted. I just didn't know how that would show up. And that's also why I begin again and again and again, because something changes from chapter to chapter in my life, right? So right now, being in parenthood, it's all about that. And now that, once you become a parent, there's no stopping that. So I imagine that this is going on to infinity and beyond. But for a long time, it was about education, and then it was about food and feelings. And so it changes from chapter to chapter. We also come from a family, like, we didn't have a whole lot of money. Me and my mom's relationship has, for a long time, we're on a great many years of up now, but for a long time when I was younger, it was up and down and figuring out like mother-daughter relationship between us. And so it was very difficult for me coming into motherhood. It was very difficult for me coming into motherhood because I felt like I didn't know how to be a mom. Like, an amazing grandmother. I have amazing aunts. I have amazing like community around me. But the
Yeah.
motherhood part, right? And
Yeah.
even the just parenthood in general, because me and I didn't really meet and spend time with my dad until I was 12 years old. My
Wow.
mom,
Yeah.
both my mom and my dad were in the army, so they were back and
Mm.
forth. My mom came back to
Wow.
New Orleans pretty frequently, but we didn't
Mhm.
spend like extended amounts of time with each other.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I didn't know like how to be this. I'm like, how do I
Yeah.
knew what I didn't want to show up as, but I didn't
Mhm.
know like what I did in this specific role, which was different for me because I told you I've always had like the headline of who I was going to be and becoming
Mhm.
in motherhood honestly wasn't really supposed to be a part of that.
Right.
Like it was not something that I really like planned to do. My family has always said like, oh, you're gonna have a million kids, but I didn't see that for me because I didn't know how to show up as a parent. And
Yeah.
so that is
Yeah.
something that was really hard for me. I knew that I wanted like a stronger family nucleus. So my
Mhm.
relationship between me and my extended family is really strong. But as
Mm.
far as like in the home, day to day life, I didn't have a whole bunch of experience with that. I grew up
Mm.
with my cousins as my brothers and my siblings,
Mhm.
and my
Wow.
siblings being people that I didn't know, and
Wow.
people that I wouldn't know until we're all like spaced out like 10 years apart. So they were either with my dad or they were adults, and so I didn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
like that relationships to look at either. And so I have become very passionate about my nuclear
Mhm.
family and what that
Yeah.
looks like for
Mm.
me. But at the same time, trying not to lose the power that extended family and chosen family has
Yeah.
become for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you said something. This when all of this is profound,
Mhm.
and I'm really clinging to this initial statement that you made around knowing who you wanted to be,
Yeah.
because you're right. The question that I was asking was the one that was like, you just came here knowing, and I think we all come here knowing it in essence, but how this is going to play out, nobody probably knows. And so what
Mhm.
even what we talk about here on the podcast is about becoming your own love goals.
Mhm.
And so your journey was like, you got these clear examples around business and like how to be an amazing businesswoman, but nobody told you were going to make xHood. Like you had to create
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
And then so
Yeah.
many of us can relate to this journey of parenthood, really not having a great blueprint.
Oh.
Many of us come from backgrounds where it was like, well, we know what we're not going to do. So I really resonated personally with your journey of, you know, like your origin story. We have to talk more offline about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not too long ago, my mom and I had a conversation about it. Like I said, our relationship has been on the up and up. She's actually moving in a few months, and so
What?
we will have all the
Nice.
generations here. Y'all pray for
That is
me.
powerful.
I'll
I'll
be
be here.
praying. That sounds like some
Uh,
prayer.
but we had a conversation. I'm like, mom, like you're such an amazing grandma, right? You're such an amazing
Yes.
Nini and grandparent. And sometimes it's hard,
Oh,
right, for me to look at that relationship and like the bond that our girls have with you.
Mhm.
And wonder like what happened, like what was it for me? And
yeah,
then I mean, it's time, right? She was what,
Yeah.
22 when she had me.
yeah,
And I know what I was doing at 22, and it wasn't caring about no kids.
yeah,
And so, she had to tell me, she was like, we were in a space again with all of our family right there. And she's like, I didn't have to be your mom.
yeah.
She was like, I didn't realize
Mm.
at the time that it was important for me to still do that, even though
That's
I
a
didn't have
word.
to. Yeah.
That's a
She was like,
word.
you had all these people who became mothers before me. So your aunts, they all
Wow.
knew what they were doing before I ever had you. Your grandma, she picked me up out of this. My mom is adopted. She was like, your grandma, she chose and raised me. And so I knew that she knew how to do this. And she was so passionate about like, you
Wow.
all's relationship. And so she stepped in a lot of ways where I should have spoken up and said, like, I can do that. I can learn this. Let me
Mm.
do it. And
Mm.
I
Yeah.
didn't do that for you. And so it created a disconnect. But I will say, like with having Nova and now with having Noir, our relationship had, like I said, been on the incline because she's getting to help me like become a mom and understand like what I can do better and what I can do differently, and tell me, you know, some of the small things that she learned from when I was a child. And I'm just learning to be, you know, all ears with that, and letting her have the chance to repair and rebuild this relationship in her own special way.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, I really want to ask you, because I've talked to so many women who have a similar story around like growing up very with their mom, but grandma being so close and very much being like mom. This is a story I've heard time and time again. I really wonder because, and you have this special experience of having mended that with your mom, and that she's about to move in. And I really want people to learn from you, like, what did you do to cultivate, or maybe what did mom do to help to cultivate this moment where you all started to just be up for years, like you said, where it was up and down? What was it that brought y'all together in this way to have this moment now?
That's a great question.
I had to start saying what I needed to say, right? And there, a lot of it she did not want to hear. A lot of it at the time I felt like she could not and did not receive, but I needed to say it, right? Because if I did not get those things off of my chest, if I did not say the thing, then we would never be in a I would always harbor this resentment for her, right? And even at the time, if she didn't receive it, she has managed to come back around, and even if she doesn't say it, my mom's a Taurus, she's stubborn. Even if she doesn't say it, right, she'll show me like, okay, I'm actively learning. I also, like, I shared that my mom is adopted. I watched her repair her relationship with her biological mom. When my sister is born, we are very far apart in age. She just turned 18 last month. And so when she was pregnant with my little sister, she reached out to her mom. She's like, I need you. Like, I need your help, you know, figuring this out. And so I got to watch her do that and watch her walk through repairing a relationship that I know was extremely damaged and extremely just like a sore spot for her, right? Our family is unique in that the person that adopted my grandmother, was friends with my grandma. She was friends with my grandma. She was friends with my grandpa. She knew them. They were all from the same neighborhood, and she was just watching that my mom needed more support. And so, like, I'm not even entirely sure that there's like any official adoption paperwork, but from the time that my mom a preteen to a teen, my mom stayed exclusively with her. And in fact, she told my grandfather, don't show up here. You can visit, but don't think that you're taking my child, because she's not going with you. So that is the origin of our relationship. So watching her then like repair the relationship with her biological mom, who had like moved away and come back, and some other things, I'm like, okay, if she can do that, we're not too far gone, right? I just need to be able to say things that I need to say to you. And it has resulted in us not talking for, you know, weeks or days or months or whatever. And then we come back around and it's like, all right, like, I got that off my chest. You can feel how you feel about it. And like I said, knowing that her actions, even if her words don't necessarily say it, and sometimes she has been more intentional about like saying like, okay, I hear you. And other times it's more in her actions, like in how she shows up differently, and me giving myself the space to see like, okay, yeah, she is trying, she is showing up a little bit differently following that conversation. And so I will say, if you are looking to repair relationships with like family members or people who you felt like disappointed you or failed you, you have to give yourself space to say the thing if you have the ability to do so.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, you in my story, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
I'm in your business. I got cameras in your house, okay?
Oh my God. You would not believe how present your story is for me just over the past 7 days. Okay. So I'm gonna try not to get emotional, but I just appreciate you sharing.
Be emotional. This is what this space is for. Big Mama Mia is
I'm here. You know, I got you.
No, I appreciate you sharing so openly, particularly having like with your mom not being like distant somewhere far away, like in another country or something, but being present, but still having to do the work. Yeah, we gotta talk offline, because this, like, I just appreciate it, and I appreciate you being honest about what you needed to do in that process. And honestly, a lot of it is taking care of yourself, is setting up the boundaries that were necessary, having the conversations that were necessary, and it really feels like using your voice was so necessary. And I am currently in a moment where I am talking to myself every day, empowering myself every day to be able to do those things, to really take care of me and get my needs met. And the things that I am like, oh, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to do this, is like the scary parts. But to hear you on the other side of that, I'm like,
we get to have joy. We get to have love on the other side.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
it might
we
feel
do.
hard in the moment.
Yeah.
That's like there have been, like I said, all the conversations, they're not going to be easy, right?
Yeah.
And just carrying through and be like, you know, I used to be like, fuck it, I'm here now. Like I didn't
Yeah.
started, might as well finish.
Right.
And then leaving it and watching and seeing if they're prepared to show up differently, right? Because when you say it, like I said, it might not necessarily be when they're ready to show up differently. And make sure you're, you know, keeping the boundaries that if they're not ready to show up differently, you hold strong, right? You stand on business. Like when you're ready, I'm ready, to hold up and ready. Okay.
Yeah.
And so like I said, my mom has been for some years now showing up very differently in my life. And I am very grateful for it because my children are obsessed with her.
Obsessed, I bet.
Yeah, they are obsessed, especially like the little baby Noir. She don't really like too many people, right? She just been staring at me. Who are you? But now my mom, she's like, yeah, pick me up, come hold me, come play with me. She loves her, and Nova was the same way. She's still the same way, but she was exactly the same way when she was a baby. And so I had to allow myself not to get in my own way because I was jealous, and I'm like, hold me like that, like you know, I want to come sit on your lap, like I want hugs without having to ask for them, like I want all of the things. And we're there now, but I had to cut you out a few times and let you know that even, you know, having a little sister that is significantly younger than me, I've gotten to watch and be a big sister and also just another parent with my mom to her. And my mom giving me the space to like say, you know, when I was this age and how you're showing up right now is how you did with me and it didn't work. And it's not going to work. And let me tell you like where it's going wrong. And sometimes you really don't want to hear it. And we, like I said, we have to take some space. But then, like I said, I get to see her show up differently, even if it's not for me, for my little sister, for my kids. And it's like it's a blessing, but I had to get out of like my ego was hurt for a while. And so I had to step out of my own way too, because I'm just like, it's not fair. But now I'm like, you know, it's a blessing for them, and and it warms my heart to see it. And
wow,
thank you so much. I think, it's just beautiful to hear it. Like you said, there's no blueprints for how to be a mom, and I realized once I had Nova in 2020, I was like, oh wait, I got a lot of stuff here I need to heal. Like when I stepped into that role, I recognized how many challenges or difficulty I had in that foundational relationship that I really, really, really needed to work through. And so it has been really healing to see my mom with how she is with Nova, and like to see like some of the things that I was like, I didn't get that. It would have been nice if I had that. And so holding
be nice.
So holding that relationship that she's building with Nova, you know, trying to hold that without a level of jealousy and not wanting to stand in the way, but also needing to get my needs met still as an adult child, is like really finding that balance between all of that. So I appreciate you sharing your story, Mia. I could go on and on about that. We certainly need to connect because you are really in my head this last week. Mo, how similar are these stories?
Spot on. I mean, some of the details are like, I mean, even Nova being your first child and like this whole journey is just
even
like
your mom being Mimi, like
girl.
Yeah.
So and then this makes me really curious then. Like if I imagine your journey of parenthood leads you to creating xHood. But I really want to know the moment where you are feeling in your soul, I have to do this, because we know starting anything is hard, but seeing something grow. And I met you because the accelerator you were a part of, the one of the leaders in that was like, you need to connect with Mia. And so you to see something from creation to going through accelerators, getting funding, leading large conferences, growing to more than 4,000 members, that takes something more than just the idea. So what was the moment where you're like, we're doing this and we are going to see it grow?
So xHood was founded Mother's Day, May of 2019.
Wow.
But the idea wasn't what it is now, right?
Okay.
So it has grown to be something very different and much more impactful than what I originally meant for it to be. I was having a really tough Mother's Day. Noah was a toddler, maybe almost 2. Yeah, 2019,
Wow.
she was almost 2. My ex-fiance, or my partner at the time, I think that might have been our first Mother's Day together, and we were trying to figure out, or maybe the second, I don't know. We were trying to figure out, like, how do we do like Mother's Day? Like, how is this supposed to work? We have 3 kids in this house, and there's 2 moms, and like none of these kids are capable of like giving us a day of rest. And in the day of like we're little kids. They're not, I mean, they're grown now and give us so much acknowledgement and so much love. But at the time, it was just like, what do we do? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start a Facebook group. Because I just want to be able to be, I'm like, maybe even if we can't like get rid of these kids for today, maybe we can just find some other families like ours to hang out with. Maybe we can ask them how they do Mother's Day. Like, does somebody get Saturday and somebody gets the actual day? Do you split weeks? Do you alternate years? What do we do? And anything that is worth knowing, I have learned from someone Black or someone gay, or queer. And so I'm like, I'm gonna put a whole bunch of us in a group. Or my idea was, let me put a whole bunch of us in a group. And then there was like 5 of us in the group. There was like 5 of us, who the 5 are still there to this day. All of our initial members, we obviously lost some folks along the way, just as we expanded and as, my vision got very clear for the community. But that's how it started. I just wanted to hang out with families that, had similar dynamics to ours, that could help me figure out some of these questions that I didn't think that anyone else would be able to help me answer. And that, like I said, was in May of 2000, Mother's Day, May of 2019. So that it's our 5-year anniversary for xHood coming up this May. Yeah, it has been insane. Like we grew really, really rapidly. Like especially in the beginning, like people were just like, I was in people's inboxes like, hey, I'm doing this thing, come, be a part of it. Other people, as they joined the group, were like reaching out to other people. And then as we started to grow, I started to see kind of where the needs were, and where the questions were, and like how we could be more of service to each other versus just giving us a space to vent. Like, how can we start and begin to answer some of our own questions and be the resources that we need for one another. And I just started to truly understand the power of community and what this could be. So the xHood of 2019 is not the xHood of 2024. I didn't think that there would be conferences and retreats and workshops and grants and all of these other resources. That wasn't the idea. I wanted to hang out with communities like ours, and then I wanted to help. And then I said, the more people began to show up for one another, I'm like, okay, the more that y'all help me do, and the more that y'all show up, the more that we can do. And that's still the story to this. People show up for programming, the more people are willing to lend their skills and their expertise, the more that we can continue to see not just xHood grow, but our families come to fruition and become our own love goals.
Yes, I love that. I mean, I'm thinking the memory popped in my head of your partnership with a cryobank that where you gave away like an IVF cycle, and I'm like, what? That is
insane.
So you really have cultivated some really great partnerships, really supporting the community in beautiful ways. And so I mean, yes, this has grown well beyond just the idea or that spark of inspiration that started all of that. Was there something you wanted to say?
I was just gonna say, as queer people, I think that so many people have such different stories, particularly as it relates to family and needing chosen family. And I think just this past weekend, I paused because I saw like some of the xHood family that we met at the summit, like on the West Coast, from different places, like celebrating a birthday, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so sweet. I love that we're celebrating one another. And then I see another part of the xHood family was in at a baby shower in Nashville, all celebrating like a person. And I just really paused and was like, wow, look at this community. Like, you don't know how beautiful it is to have just like-minded people who are willing to literally show up for you and drive and travel and be together. And I had a little FOMO because we had things we had to do, so we couldn't be there. But it was beautiful to just sit and watch how that was simultaneously happening at different cities in the US, and I'm sure so many other ones that I don't even know about. So the community building is just, it's just so beautiful, and it makes my heart warm.
There are so many xHood babies this year, and I love it. I love it. I joked in the group the other day. I'm like, instead of retreats, I'm just going baby tour, because clearly everybody is either, pregnant or welcoming a baby, or even we have some xHood parents that have begun fostering and began the process to adoption. It's like so many new families being formed, so many families expanding, so many of our chosen family, like you said, getting together, celebrating one another, showing up for each other. And I just love it. Like, it is truly my wildest dream for xHood to watch. I mean, I get xHood members, they're getting married. They're starting. I saw 2 xHood members literally got married the last weekend.
Wow.
Watching them start businesses with each other. I'm like, just start their own things and build like the community and the resources that they need. And so I have been doing my best to try and support everyone everywhere. I like to, make sure that I am remaining accessible. So y'all keep inviting me to the birthday parties and the baby showers and the weddings. I'm in the streets this year. Let me know where we
outside. I love it.
God. So you said something, Mia. You were like, you are on, like many of us, on the journey of being our own love goals and things like that. And I remember the journal from the summit last year had parent goals on it. And I'm wondering, for you, xHood, as a person, as a mother, what does that mean for you? Parent goals, like, what does that mean?
For me, parent goals just means being confident and having the confidence and the support and the resources for whatever your next stage of parenting looks like, right? So some of us are newly becoming parents. Some of us are becoming parents through expansion and now having multiple kids. Some of us are becoming, we have xHood members that are becoming empty nesters in the next year, and helping them figure out like, what does it mean to show up as a parent for an adult? And showing, how does that mean that I show up as an xHood Mimi? Like, what does that mean for me? So I want people to be equipped in whatever their next chapter is, right? And so like, I don't want us to feel like we don't have anywhere to ask the question, anywhere to get the money from, anywhere to, just build the relationships that we need so that we do feel supported in this. And that is what parent goals is all about. Like, how do I build up my community, my xHood little neighborhood around me to make sure that I have everything that I need to get to whatever the next step is.
Yes.
I love that.
And then on adding to that, I'm wondering if you can leave our audience with what we call a love resource, tools that helped you on your journey of becoming your own parent goals and defining that and redefining that and starting again and again. What has helped you that you want to leave our audience with? xHood is obviously the main resource. Anybody, it's like you literally need to join xHood.
Yes.
And if there were any tools or anything a book, anything that helped you along your way.
So this Ancestors Said, it's 365 meditations. I have not done it like every day all the way through. But it is something that I can start my morning with, and it's like a little quick snippet that feels like just a message for me and what I need to hear for that day. And so like, what's today? March 1st, right? Let's see.
I love it.
This month, you'll learn how to fully step into yourself. Lean into the weight of your destiny. And so just little messages like that, I try to keep around me, try to make sure that I'm just very feeling like I'm always in alignment, right? And so whatever that book is for you, like I have a few of them, not just this book, but I'll send y'all other ones to put in the links as well. But like keeping little messages around you that will help you continuously get in alignment and feel grounded and keep moving and keep pushing to the next day, because it gets really there are going to be difficult days, and it gets really sometimes just hard to keep moving into the next step. And yes, there is definitely power in resting and acknowledging when you're tired, but also there's so much power in getting up and standing on all of your ancestors and the people who have been building for a long time behind you. And I know that I started this story with my aunt. She's not yet an ancestor, but my story is built on top of hers. It's built on top of someone else's. So definitely lean into that for your own journey as well, because there are so many people just rooting for you and invested in your success. And I hope you know that I'm one of them.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you for just sharing that love with our audience, and that love is just so apparent in everything that you do. And I'll let you ask Mia our would you rather. We do a little thing on the podcast, which is like in our relationship, we always like to play games or ask questions to one another to one get to know each other in the beginning, but also to just infuse fun into everything that we do. So we call this section Truth or Truth, because we used to play Truth or Dare, and we would never want to do the dares. So we would just ask truth after truth question. So is this question, we won't put you on the spot too bad, but we got a question we thought of just for you.
Right. Okay, Mia. So would you rather your partner cook dinner every single night, or have your partner get up every time your little one cried throughout the night?
You can only have one or the other.
Oh, definitely every time she cries throughout the night.
Okay.
These babies, they be up. Like I was just on the phone with a friend last night, and the baby was just getting up. Because she don't be wanting nothing. Like, where you just go to bed. Like, I wish I could just go to bed and not be interrupted. And you fighting it. I also just really enjoy cooking. Like it is my place to like unwind and get creative. And like I used to host dinner parties, and then I realized like I don't want to make the thing that I love like more stressful. And so yeah, I love to cook. She has like 4.5 recipes under her belt. Unless I want to eat salmon or chicken Alfredo every night, then yeah, no,
So you're saying next time we come near your area, I need to let you know so you can make us some dinner.
Yeah, and I want like more.
I want some jumbo.
Please.
I love it.
Oh my God. So Mia, this has been such a beautiful conversation, and I want people to know how to get to be a part of xHood. Like, for anybody listening that's like, I need to join, I want to be a part of that, I want to participate. Like, what are the opportunities that they have to be connected?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find us on most platforms, all platforms, I think, Facebook and Instagram at Parent xHood. Our website is parentxhood.com. We are also having a really special year in celebration of our 5-year anniversary and just honoring the fact that I am tired. We are having 4 retreats this year. We are not having our annual summit. It will be back next year, fingers crossed. But we are hosting 4 retreats, the first of which is in Baltimore this April. And then we have 3 other cities that I guess I will announce here because I have not yet announced them. We will be in LA. In July, we will be in Chicago in September. And then we will be in my hometown of New Orleans in December. So I hope that I will be there. I wanted to give our community many, many opportunities to get to connect with one another and just, relax and rejuvenate and do a little bit of partying and eating just on a much, much smaller scale than the summit. I really want us to focus on building those intimate connections that we've already seen come out of exit, but just exploring even more of those relationships.
So we gotta choose our city.
It's probably Chicago.
Yes, y'all got Ex-Harvest City. People keep asking me like, what city should I go to? And I'm like, I don't know. That's why I'm having 4. Like, I could not choose. So
it's like,
y'all gotta do New Orleans.
It's like, we want to be in New Orleans, but we have built-in babysitters in Chicago, so we gonna have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
That's the question. But you can find all the information about the Ex-Harvest retreats on our social platforms and on our website. And I hope to see you in 2024. I can't wait.
And before you go, is there any other way you want people to connect with you? Anything else that you want people to know before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah, if you're like xHood is cool, but Mia, you're even cooler. You can find me on platforms at the Big Mama Mia. I'm very vocal on Instagram and on Twitter, and I'm very accessible. I respond to my DMs. I love to have deep conversations and connect with folks. So if you're willing to just say hi to me, you can find me at the Big Mama Mia. It's MOMMAMIA.
Beautiful. Thank you. And then we'll have those details in the show notes, and it'll be on our website too for anybody listening. And so if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description of the episode too. So definitely feel free to connect with Mia and to check out xHood. This has been a beautiful episode of the Be Your Own Love Goals podcast. We are just so grateful for you to be being here, Mia. Thank you for joining us. And we really hope you all have a great day and be well.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Video episodes are on YouTube and Spotify.
If you want your question included in an upcoming episode, feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at Be Your Own Love Goals or check out our website at lovegoalspodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Bye.